The other day, I was watching a shoplifter get carried out in handcuffs, and I just thought about something completely unrelated because that's just how my brain works. It's time to migrate, and I do not just mean pack a bag, book a flight, change your address, and start telling people you are in your new era while still carrying the same old operating system. I mean real migration, mental migration, social migration, financial migration, emotional migration, behavioral migration, spiritual migration. Every other animal seems to understand when conditions no longer support survival. Birds fly south when winter comes. Whales travel and cross entire oceans when food sources shift. Caribou migrate when seasons change and resources move. Fish relocate when waters become unsafe. Even insects, mammals, and animals respond when their environment no longer gives them what they need to survive. Nature has always understood something humans love to ignore. When resources are low, growth is stopped, conditions are unfair, and the environment becomes dangerous. It is time to move. Migration is not weakness, it is intelligence, it's adaptation, it is survival with a suitcase. But humans will stay anywhere: a dead end job, a draining friendship, a toxic relationship, a city that does not support their growth, a family system that only knows how to criticize, a social media group full of chaos, a business partnership that keeps taking more than it gives, a church, club, event, friend group, or online community where they are not respected, accommodated, valued, or even treated like a full human being. Then they carry that aggravation all day long. The smallest inconveniences happen and boom, they detonate like somebody dropped a lit match in a fireworks warehouse. But the inconvenience was not the real cause. That was just a spark. The real fuel was years of staying in environments that never served them. That is why I say some people are not naturally angry. They are environmentally expired. They stayed past the freshness date. Down here in New Orleans, we understand evacuations warnings. Well, not all of us. Now, whether everybody listens is a different sermon because some people will hear category 4 hurricane, look at the sky and see Jim Cantor standing sideways in the wind and still say, I'm just going to ride it out. That is how some people treat life. Everything around them is screaming, leave. Their spirit is tired. Their body is tired. Their money is tired. Patience, even the edges are tired. And they're still talking about, I'm just loyal. No, at some point, that is not loyalty. That is decorating the storm. Nature already knows what humans ignore. Nature rewards adaptation. Humans often reward stubbornness. In the natural world, migration happens because staying can become dangerous. Animals migrate for food, mating, reproduction, temperature, safety, and survival. They do not sit around debating whether the frozen pond has potential. They do not hold a town hall meeting with the wolves. They do not wait for the dry grassland to apologize. They respond to reality. Humans, on the other hand, will stay in a situation that has already shown them the ending. They act shocked when the rerun comes again. People will see patterns repeat for years and still say they will grow out of it. They will change someday. They just need time. I'm still rooting for them. Now, rooting for people is not bad. Compassion is not bad. Grace is not bad. But there is a difference between hoping someone heals and volunteering to be collateral damage while they refuse to heal. A person can lose to addiction. A person can lose to untreated mental illness. A person can lose to ego, to poor decision making, to the need for attention. And yes, we can still hope they recover, but hoping someone recovers does not mean you have to live inside the wreckage. That is where people get confused. They think leaving means hatred. Sometimes leaving means wisdom. Sometimes leaving means you finally accepted the evidence. Leaving means you stop trying to love somebody into accountability. Nature does not confuse movement with betrayal. A bird does not apologize to the winner, it just flies. I'm like a bird, I only fly away. I don't know where my soul is. Psychology gives us several explanations for why people stay in environments that hurt them. One major reason is familiarity. Humans often prefer familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. That sounds wild, but look around. A toxic relationship feels safer than being alone. You can see it on the internet when people have dating issues. The first thing they say is they're gonna go back to the ex, or they should have stayed with the ex, and blah blah blah. A miserable job feels safer than uncertainty. A dysfunctional family system feels safer than building boundaries. A chaotic friend group feels safer than starting over. The brain likes what it recognizes, even when what it recognizes is hurting you. That is why some people can move to a new city and find the same kind of friends. They can leave one relationship and date the same personality in a different outfit. Baby, it's people I know, 5, 6 relationships in deep. No judgment on the relationship count, because counts and stuff is really childish. But all 5, 6 relationships is the same person. Like they'll tell you, they'll be like, oh, I got a new boo. They name Brittany or they name Brandon, but Brittany and Brandon be sounding just like Tom, Tina, Darren, and Darrenique, and all of these other people. It's like, baby, are you trying out for a reality show or something? Like you trying to play a certain role and get it good enough to be able to fake it on TV or something? They can quit one job and end up under the same kind of management. They can leave one social circle and join another with the same drama, different logo. Because if the mind does not migrate, the body is just sightseeing. A lot of people change locations, but not patterns. They change phone numbers, but not boundaries, partners, but not standards, jobs, but not habits, hairstyles, wardrobes, captions, profile pictures, but the internal compass still points towards the same dysfunction. That is why migrating requires self-reflection. Otherwise, you're not escaping the pattern. You're just giving it a new address. Familiar pain is powerful because it gives people a strange sense of control. If I already know someone disappoints me, at least I know what to expect. If I already know this job drains me, at least the paycheck is predictable. If I already know this friend group gossips, at least I know where I stand. If I know this person lies, at least I know how they lie. That is not peace. That is pain management. Some people have confused survival skills with personality traits. They call themselves patients, but really they're over tolerant. They call themselves loyal, but really they're afraid of loss. They call themselves understanding, but really they are allergic to confrontation. They call themselves easygoing, but really they have been trained to ignore their own discomfort. That is not maturity. That is conditioning. And when people are conditioned to tolerate dysfunction, they often do not leave when the first red flag appears, or the fifth, or the 50th. They wait until the situation has drained them, embarrassed them, damaged them, or financially ruined them. Then they finally say, I should have left sooner. Yes, you should have. But awareness after the damage is still useful if you let it become wisdom. The problem is that many people do not turn pain into wisdom. They turn it into personality. And also giving grace to people. Uh, I've experienced situations like that, and my tie to the situation was blind loyalty and blind love. But once I removed the idea of love in dangerous situations, because that's not, that's a lie. Love is not going to be dangerous, and loyalty is not going to be betrayal. Like you claiming loyalty to people who show you every time they can undercut you, they will. And then some of them try to humble you like some type of abused animal to where you're supposed to believe that they matter to you and you matter to them. Group delusions. People are heavily influenced by groups. Humans are social creatures. We wired to do that for survival. That can be good or dangerous depending on the group. A healthy group can help you grow. A toxic group can help you justify staying small. People often form shared delusions because shared delusions feel like community. If everyone around you overspends, overspending feels normal. If everyone drinks too much, drinking too much feels normal. If they gossip feels like bonding. If they're bitter, bitterness starts sounding like intelligence. If everyone around you refuses accountability, accountability starts feeling like betrayal. That is how dysfunction becomes culture. People will fan over celebrities, influencers, politicians, entertainers, podcasters, and online personalities, then model their lives after people who are visibly unraveling. They will defend people who publicly embarrass themselves, harm others, exploit people, lie, scam, cheat, or spiral. Then the moment someone they dislike holds them accountable, that person is sentenced to life in the court of public opinion. Some people do not believe in accountability. They believe in favorites, picks and chooses. If they like you, it is a mistake. If they do not like you, it is your character. If their favorite celebrity does it, they need grace. If their enemy does it, they need exile. That is not morality. That is fan behavior wearing church shoes. And this is why fame confuses people. People treat fame like proof of value, but fame is not wisdom. It's not maturity, integrity, definitely not financial stability, and it's not proof that somebody should be your life compass. Some people are famous because they're talented. Some are famous because they're marketable. Others because they're chaotic, and some are famous because the algorithm realized people cannot stop watching a public mess. That does not mean you should take life advice from them. As for the asylum jokes people make online, I vote we stop putting Kaya's name on everything because Kaya has actually maintained a career, built a lane, and monetized her personality without needing everyone's approval. If we need a pop culture asylum for people stuck in public delusion, call it whatever you want, but do not confuse visibility with victory. The Katy Perry asylum, because some people are not winning, they are just well lit while losing. The business of human weakness. Modern day businesses understand psychology extremely well. That is why I hammer it so much, because any of the goals that the average person is working on or the positive changes people are making, baby, psychology is the thing that probably is stopping you from making it if you're not aware of what's going on. They study attention, they study habit loops, emotional triggers, impulse buying, store layouts, colors, smells, lighting, music, pricing, urgency, scarcity, and social proof. They know how to make you feel like you need something before you had a chance to think. Stores are arranged to make you walk past more products. Restaurants use aroma to activate appetite. Apps use notifications to pull you back in. Streaming platforms use autoplay so you do not have to decide to keep watching. Social media platforms use endless scrolling because stopping points give people a chance to leave. Online stores create urgency with phrases like only a few left, sale ends tonight, someone just bought this, limited drop, card expires soon. Translation: hurry up and panic before your common sense clocks in. Companies understand that attention leads to engagement. Engagement leads to subscriptions. Subscriptions leads to purchases. Purchases lead to data. Data leads to more targeting, and targeting leads to more purchases. This is why self-control matters, not because people need to live like monks in a swamp, but because the modern world is engineered to reach into your pocket, your appetite, your insecurity, your boredom, your loneliness, your desire. And if you do not know yourself, somebody else can sell you a version of yourself. They will put a body type, skin tone, hair texture, accent, disability, culture, or identity in an ad and call it inclusion. Sometimes it is real support. Sometimes it is marketing wearing a dashiki, a pride pin, a wheelchair ramp, and a corporate smile. You have to look deeper. Does the company support those communities behind the scenes? Do they hire them? Do they pay them, protect them, listen to them, invest in them? Or did they just discover representation right around the time the quarterly sales report needed a little seasoning? Because a lot of industries do not love people. They love demographics. And when a business sees you only as a demographic, your identity becomes a sales funnel. Now, let us talk about the migration many people avoid the most: migrating from bad habits. People love talking about what they need to do. I need to lose weight. I need to eat better. I need to stop drinking so much, to go to the doctor, to start exercising, to get more sleep, to stop spending so much money, to get off my phone, to stop entertaining these people. They know, they have known. They can give a TED talk about what they need to do. They can diagnose the problem, explain the symptoms, describe the consequences, and still wake up tomorrow and choose the same thing. That is not lack of information. That is lack of migration. Awareness without movement is just commentary. People downplay their bodies all the time. They will joke about being out of breath, about not sleeping, about eating terribly, drinking too much, being stressed, ignoring pain, how their body is falling apart. But the body is not laughing. The body is recording. It remembers what the mouth minimizes. And some people will risk their lives trying to surgically remove what their habits created. Now, let me be clear. Surgery has legitimate medical issues. I had 16 of them. Well, no, I'm lying. Probably 18 since 2023. I actually lost count. I'm gonna have to look at my medical records again, but I've had a lot of surgeries. There are procedures that save lives, improve mobility, restore function, and help people after major health struggles. This is not an anti-surgery message, baby. None of these messages is anti anything. The whole point of the matter is not what you're doing, it's knowing the purpose of you doing it and not doing things that don't serve any purpose, not taking resources to do anything, surgery, clothes, whatever, trips that is not serving you, because otherwise you just waste the resources that you're going to later need for something. You're going to be short one day, and all of that shit you wasted is going to be haunting you in your brain. All of those overdraft fees could have been enough for the put a down payment on something. So, you know, but that, I mean, if you made it this far in the video, you already know what type of time I'm on. This is an anti-delusion message, because surgery cannot permanently defeat unchanged habits. If the behavior remains the same, the result often returns in another form. Some people pursue cosmetic or weight-related procedures while ignoring the lifestyle, mental health, discipline, nutrition, movement, and emotional patterns underneath. Some go to providers who bend rules, overlook risks, or prioritize payment over patient safety. And yes, people have died chasing a physical fix for a behavioral problem. That is not transformation. That is gambling with anesthesia. Some people want results without the responsibility. They want the body change without the habits change. They want the life change without the decisions change. They want the outcome change without the identity change. But habits migrate with you. You can get the surgery. You can move to the new city, buy the new clothes, start the new relationship, get the new job, launch the new business. But if the habits remain the same, the old life will eventually find a new address. Financial migration is one of the clearest examples of how people stay stuck. Every year, people receive tax refunds, bonuses, settlements, inheritance, back pay, stimulus check, overtime checks, and unexpected financial blessings. For a moment, they feel rich. Then the money disappears. Not because money is evil. Money is a tool. Like every other tool, it's a tool. So its use is what makes it whatever it is. If a person is a philanthropist, then the money is good. If a person is trafficking people, then the money is evil, because money reveals habits. Money does not automatically create discipline. Money magnifies what already is there. If a person is impulsive with $200, they may be dangerous with 2,000. If a person cannot manage $2,000, $20,000 may only give them a bigger shovel to dig a deeper hole. I'll never forget, I got a lump sum from the VA when I was a kid, and I wasn't even living in the house that got the lump sum. And when I tell you it had to be at least $40,000, well, I only got 500 out of that. And magically, the person who always been struggling is still struggling. They never had a uptime where that money went towards something. So yeah, people will cry broke and then spread every financial blessing like the money offended them. They will base monthly payments on a lump sum instead of their regular income. They will get a vehicle, furniture, jewelry, electronics, clothes, vacations, and subscriptions because the refund made them feel like a millionaire for one business week. Then the regular income returns, the bill remains, the car note remains, insurance, interest, debt, repo man, buy here, pay here lots understand this very well. A car bought cheaply at auction can be sold for several times the price. With financing, fees, interest, and default cycles, the dealership can make far more than the vehicle was originally worth. If the buyer defaults, the car comes back. Then it goes right back on the lot for the next person. That business model works because people do not migrate from financial ignorance. They get mad at the system, politicians, the economy, the devil, the Mercury retrograde, and whoever else is available. But they remain accessible to the people profiting from their lack of knowledge. That is the painful truth. If you do not understand credit, interest, contracts, debt, budgeting, insurance, financing, or ownership costs, somebody's going to profit from what you do not know. Bad credit can tell different stories. Bad credit with strong assets may tell one story. Bad credit, overdrafts, impulsive spending, unpaid bills, and constant emergencies tell another. The issue is not just a number. The issue is the behavior behind the number. Financial migration means learning. It means pausing, reading contracts, checking the total costs. It means asking, can I afford this monthly payment when the lump sum is gone? It means not letting a tax refund trick you into a 12-month obligation. It means understanding that prosperity is not how much money passes through your hands. Prosperity is how much wisdom you apply before it leaves. I find too, though, when it comes to trying to get through to people, you can only really get through to people when they're by themselves. Like you could take that person that's in the group that's the loudest dog in the pack, and when you get them alone, it's a whole different thing. It's like that's why a lot of these issues people experience, more than likely the people they connected to have the same issues. Some relation some people migrate physically but never migrate relationally. They group hop, friend hop, partner hop, city hop, app hop, marry, divorce. And I know somebody has been married and divorced 7 times. Or every woman is the problem. Now, sometimes people truly do experience harmful relationships. Abuse is real, manipulation is real. But when the exact same outcome follows you across multiple people, cities, jobs, and friend groups, reflection is necessary. You should be reflecting regardless. Even if it's not your fault, reflect because it's a connection to whatever the scenario you're reflecting on. That's how you find peace, and you know how to protect it better, because peace is not meaning that your life is just going to be perfect. It just means that things don't impact your emotional core. You've taken your emotional core from the outside, like a lot of people mistakenly have all their buttons on the outside, and you put it on the inside, and you shield yourself with intellect to pick through situations, see what the lesson was. Did I make a mistake? Was it sometimes it's no fault situations? You and somebody could be into it and it's neither your fault. It's just bad timing, bad scenario. It's many different things. It's not always right and wrong. And if you dealing with people, or if you somebody that see everything as right and wrong, baby, you probably difficult as hell to deal with. Or they difficult as hell to deal with. Because I know it's been times I've communicated with people and it's just been a honest miscommunication. They didn't see something, so they didn't do their part. So when I addressed that they didn't do their part, instead of them just realizing, oh, it wasn't intentional. I didn't see this. They make it oh, you should have did this. You should have sent it twice. You should have did, like, shut the fuck up. Anyways, at some point you have to ask, what pattern am I participating in? What red flags do I keep ignoring? What kind of person do I keep choosing? What version of myself keeps showing up? Some people cannot be alone, so they let every lover move in. Then when the relationship ends, they are shocked that a codependent person destroys the home, the peace, the finances, or the emotional stability on the way out. But if the pattern already happened before, the next version was not random. It was a rerun. Some people cling to dating apps no matter how many stories show the risk of meeting strangers without proper discernment, safety planning, and boundaries. The point is not that all apps are evil. Well, they are. All apps are evil, allegedly. The point is that access without discernment is dangerous. People often want connection without caution, love without standards, intimacy without observation, commitment without character. And then everything falls apart. They say people ain't nothing. No. Sometimes people are exactly who they showed you they were. You just wanted the fantasy more than the facts. That is why relational migration matters. You may need to leave the relationship, but you may also need to leave the version of yourself that accepted it. That is why when you get older, you can look at your high school and college crushes and see that, because you're a different person, hopefully. Unless you like some of the people out here that be the same person all their life. They be the same person at 70 who they was at 15. That's not no fun. Another place people refuse to migrate is technology. People will get on their soapbox about surveillance. They will talk about data collection. They will warn everybody about privacy. They will post long paragraphs about apps selling information, then continue using the same apps, not just daily, hourly, with location on, contact sync, microphone permissions enabled, camera permissions enabled, face filters active, shopping history connected, every thought posted, every meal posted, every child posted, location, emotion. Then they say they watching us. Baby, you handed them a key in the porch and the key to the porch. First of all, for anyone who actually cares about like science, if y'all were paying attention to the story behind the missing scientists and the technology that was involved, baby, if them people wanted y'all, baby, you handed them binoculars and the key to the porch. Now, privacy concerns are real. Data collection is real. Surveillance capitalism is real. The issue is that many people confuse complaining with changing. They do not change settings. They do not delete apps. They definitely don't read permissions. But then again, I always wonder if maybe the literacy rate may be the reason, because putting reading on everyone in a country where it's a higher percentage of people that can't even read above a 6th grade level, That plays a part in stuff. And I mention it a lot because that does. Like the less you read, that's the less you're going to be aware of stuff. And the less you're aware of stuff, the more anxiety you're going to have with those things that you're not aware of. Or for some people who are super small minded, you're going to insert assumptions where there is uncertainty versus trying to clarify. So they do not reduce posting. They do not use stronger privacy habits. They do not limit what they share. They just perform outrage, then return to the same digital plantation with a fresh password. That is not migration. That is a speech. The modern world requires digital maturity. You cannot say you are worried about privacy while treating the internet like your diary, your therapist, your photo album, your confessional booth, and your neighborhood porch. At some point, your behavior has to match your concern. Otherwise, you're not protecting yourself. You are just narrating your exposure. Your life is a compass. Your beliefs are a direction. Your habits are coordinates. Your decisions are the route. Your outcomes are the destination. That is why small thinking often creates small living. Not because people are doomed, unless they want to be. Not because people are worthless. Um, no comment. Not because people cannot grow, but because people in a limited mindset keeps choosing limited environments, limited relationships, limited habits, limited schedules, and solutions. People let everyone they're trying to impress influence their lives. They let social media decide what success looks like. They let broke people tell them how money works. They let bitter people tell them how love works. Unhealthy people tell them how health works. Chaotic people tell them how peace works. People with no discipline mock discipline. That is backwards. If someone's life is not producing fruit, be careful letting them hand you seeds. A person's life can be a warning or a blueprint or both. So wisdom is knowing the difference. Some people can spend their free time giving unsolicited advice while their own life is sitting in a corner with smoke coming out of the hood. They will tell you what you need to do, where you need to go, who you need to date, how to spend, forgive, tolerate, and to live. Meanwhile, their own decisions have them trapped in a cycle they refuse to examine. This is why you must guard your compass. Everybody should not get access to your direction. Why some people repeat the same life forever, forever, ever, forever, ever. Forever never seem too long until you go. Some people do not grow, they just age. They become older versions of the same mindset, same excuses, same emotional reactions, same financial emergencies, friend drama, relationship, poor planning, late arrivals, victim stories, lack of accountability, refusal to learn. Only now they have more years behind them and more people to blame. A person who is always late may never calculate how many hours, days, weeks, and opportunities they have wasted over a lifetime, or the people around them who had to wait. If you like, for me, I that was something I never liked because I don't expect people to be on time. But like, say for instance, like if I was in a city like Houston or Los Angeles, I would imagine you should at least be on the way within a reasonable time to get to the place. Like if a place is 40 minutes away, I would imagine if you wanted to get there on time, you would try to leave 50 minutes. But I also understand traffic and different things. But you have people, and it's very common, and I noticed social media was romanticizing it. You have people that won't even be clothed near the time it's time to go. So it's like, what was the whole point of scheduling a time with you if you was gonna do that? Not to mention, they don't even tell you like, hey, I ain't left yet, so or I'm still in bed, slow down or something. Like I could respect that. Like if we meeting up at 4, but you tell me 4 ain't gonna work and you need to, push it back a few minutes. I will hope you come at the time you say, but they have people out there that will tell you, let's push it back to 4:30 or 5, and then they don't end up being ready to 7. And it's like, you know, but it'd be a regular thing with them, even when they having events. And them kind of people, it's like, I don't know. Time is too valuable. People don't see time as money because we have free access to time, but it's more valuable than money. A person who hangs with anybody may never consider how dangerous access can become. An angry person may never see why people only use them or avoid them. An emotionally uncontrolled man may never realize his environment has the remote control to his nervous system. Push the button, he explodes. Push that button, he crashes out. Push another button, now he's online embarrassing himself while calling it standing on business. A lot of adult age people have not developed adult level self regulation. They may have bills, children, jobs, cars, gray hairs, but internally they're still reacting from an underdeveloped place. That does not mean they're hopeless. I mean, to me it does, but the grand scheme of things, they're not hopeless. But it does mean growth is required, because as long as you live in society, lack of knowledge and lack of self control will lead your life. If you want to live with no rules, no credit, no accountability, no laws, no responsibility, and no concern for how decisions affect others, then go off the grid. Go build a hut, raise some chickens, collect rainwater, name a raccoon Kevin. But as long as you are participating in society, your choices matter. Discipline, knowledge, emotional control, reputation, finances, relationships, habits. Society has systems. You can complain about them, you can critique them, you can work to change them, but you cannot ignore them and act shocked when they affect you. Not to mention, if you look at how society is grouped, look at the common traits that each people have. People in poverty, even though it's not everyone, unfortunately, but the poster children and the one who get the screen time online of American people in poverty, you see anger, you see dysfunction, you see irresponsibility, you see barbaric ways of living, you see over dramatic responses to things that could have just been resolved with words or with the report or with the complaint. And then when it comes to people who are financially literate, you see that all of them have in common things that's out of their financial bracket that they regularly spend money on. You see a lot of people who laugh at being hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt from going to Disney World and expecting their life to still be as good as somebody who didn't do those things. Like, people see good and want the good, but they don't realize that person had to sacrifice that. And that's actually disrespectful to people who sacrificed to get where they were, for people who don't sacrifice anything and who actually just leeches to expect that same result in their own life. Prosperity requires movement. Prosperity requires migration, not just from poverty to money, but from chaos to order, from ignorance to knowledge, impulsivity to discipline, survival mode to strategy, emotional reactivity to emotional regulation, social pressure to self respect, excuses to execution. Prosperity is not only a bank account, it is peace, health, clarity, preparation, good judgment. Prosperity is having the wisdom to leave before the situation destroys you. A prosperous person can ask better questions. Not just, can I buy this, but can I sustain this? Do I love them? But actually, are they healthy for me? Do I want this? But what does it require? Can I survive here? But also, can I grow here? That is the difference. Survival asks, can I make it through? Prosperity asks, is this helping me become better? Some environments only allow survival. Some people only allow survival. Habits, jobs, friend groups, some of them only allow survival. If you want prosperity, you have to migrate beyond whatever only permits you to barely exist. And beware of people who are trying to preach prosperity to you while taking your money. I'm on this channel, and I mean, I have 9 videos in the chamber now, as far as I wrote them and have them ready. And I did a slide for 3 of them, and I have about 6 more to do slides for. And then, of course, they're going to be dispersed once a day. I'm not going to get people used to more than, I'm not even a once a day person. It's just what I have on my mind. When something is ready and the time is right, like right now, you see the sun's still out. So obviously I finished things early today. Like, y'all know my life, y'all don't. But I definitely don't need anything from anybody. I appreciate whatever y'all do, even though I don't see it, because I'm not looking at analytics. If I start paying attention to analytics and fall into that dopamine trap and expecting likes and begging for subscribers, and then looking and seeing a video got 0 views and like, oh my God, all these people told me I should do videos and nobody watches my videos. No, I'm not doing that this time. This time is from well, it's always been from a genuine place, but this is pure genuine. It ain't no monetization being thought about. It ain't no AdSense being thought about, because this is not a job for me, and it won't be a job, because once it becomes that, it becomes a job. And once you add a reward for something that was supposed to be genuine, it's not genuine no more. Like, then I'm gonna start expecting rewards subconsciously. Been there, done that. Migration is deeply philosophical. It asks, who am I becoming? What am I attached to? What am I afraid to leave? What pain have I normalized? What identity have I outgrown? What environment keeps rewarding the worst version of me? Many philosophies teach some version of migration. The Stoics emphasize focusing on what you can control. That means you may not control every system, every person, every outcome, every obstacle, but do control your response, your preparation, your habits, and your direction. Many Eastern philosophies discuss detachment, not coldness, not cruelty, not that red pill shit y'all be talking about, but the ability to release what causes unnecessary suffering. Existential philosophy emphasizes choice and responsibility. You are not just what happened to you, you're also what you repeatedly choose after it happened. That is uncomfortable, but it's powerful because if choices help build the current life, choices can help build a different one. Migration begins when you accept that your life cannot change while you remain loyal to everything, keeping it the same. Some people are not trapped by chains, they're trapped by detachment, attached to being liked, being understood, proving a point, to old identities, to familiar people, to environments where they know they're not growing, attached to pain because their pain became familiar. But philosophy asks a deeper question. Is your attachment worth your life? Not just your physical life, peace, purpose, health, time, future, your capacity to become more, because some people are not dying all at once. They're shrinking slowly and calling it life. And that's someone who grew up around ignorant, barbaric, immature ass people. I can tell you that when it comes to, well, let me go back up because I was about to say something about trains, they're trapped to attachment. It's a conflict of interest when you're trying to grow with those kind of people in your life, especially if you have their ways and you don't realize it. So, how do you know it is time to migrate? Ask yourself, am I growing here? Am I respected, safe, value, learning, healthier, more disciplined, becoming more peaceful, becoming more responsible? Am I proud of who I'm becoming? Or am I constantly shrinking, explaining? That's what I was going to say. Defending, recovering, tolerating, and surviving. Baby, explaining don't do anything. The reason I accidentally use metaphors a lot, it is not intentional. It is because as a child being around idiots, I had to use metaphors to break down terms into the simplest term. And a lot of times I would have to use more metaphors because the first one didn't work. Then the second one didn't work. Then I started realizing when it comes to certain things, people do not want to understand it. Especially if it's a disagreement and you thinking if you enlighten them, they're going to change their tune or see where you're coming from. People don't give a fuck about where you're coming from, baby. They care about where they could keep you. Like the same way people get animals and just leave them outside and get mad when they run away. People do that to people. If you, whatever you are to a person, that's what you're supposed to be. If you that person that they get their validation from when they call and you being an encouraging friend and all of that, that's what they're gonna use you for. And when you want to have time, or if you maybe want to go out with them or do things with them, they're not going to be available for that because you're supposed to be the validator. You're nothing else. If you're someone who is resourceful, you are only resources. You're not a human. You don't have emotions. When you have things happen to you, they may give you a "that's crazy" or "oh," and if you stay communicating with them in that same conversation, you're gonna forget that you even had an issue because everything gonna become about them. You just broke your leg, or your mama just fell on the steps. God forbid for people who mama didn't fall on the steps, but and they talking about another dude that they met and all of this other crazy stuff. It's just, yeah, pay attention to patterns. One mistake can be a mistake. And actually, too, I don't know if everybody gonna experience this the same way, but when you do actually start going through this, you're gonna feel all kinds of intense emotions. You will feel betrayal, you will feel regret, you will feel despair, you will feel anger, you will feel resentment. Because these are all of these emotions that your body been feeling, but your mind hadn't connected to it because you was forcing love to be the forefront. You was forcing loyalty to be the forefront. You was forcing being there for people and never leaving people abandoned because you might have been like me, projecting your abandonment issues on people. So when you're dealing with toxic people, you thinking more about the fact that other people abandon them versus the fact that this person is going to destroy everything I have going for me. So, not to mention, the most beautiful thing is when you beat and supported a person, then kept their secrets, then did all kind of stuff for them. And the first thing they do when y'all part ways is to attempt to assassinate your character, which is hilarious for people. Because I know a lot of y'all will go back and forth with people, but for me, if I've loved you at one point, I'm never gonna harm you. So when people get to doing stuff, I just leave them alone. Because if you were someone I didn't love and you play with me like that, the sky's the limit. But as time goes on, I may have to repeal that because some people really be trying it, thinking that, oh yeah, he ain't gonna never hurt nobody he used to care about, and he used to care about me, so I'm safe. I could just keep fucking with him. No, you can't, because I may not do what I used to do, but you're gonna go to court. I'm gonna sue you because y'all so dumb. Y'all do shit. Well, I don't have anything going on currently, but if I were to have anything going on, they probably would do it on social media, do it on the internet, and have all kind of evidence. Baby, your grandkids gonna be bankrupt. So people better tread lightly. But when you feel them emotions, allow yourself to feel it. Actually start labeling the emotions you do feel so you can know the difference. Because a lot of times when you finally separate yourself from these people and start replaying different conversations and different days they did shit, you're going to start noticing stuff that you overlooked, and it's going to make you madder. So yes, please migrate. And it doesn't mean that your life have to be lonely, because they have all kinds of people in this world. They have people with their purpose. They have people who actually are safe. But your first thing need to be is to be able to stand alone, so that when you do exist in a group, you in a group as a whole person, you've been raised and been friendships and been dating people that's been half people. So y'all been going half on a personality, but it does not work that way. That is why a lot of those people who are half people get controlled in different groups, because that's what happens when you're not a full person. You can be controlled. That's like a car with no driver. You're a car, but nobody's driving. And a choice that repeatedly harms you becomes evidence. Stop needing a burning bush, a billboard, and a second line parade from heaven to confirm what you already know. Sometimes the sign is repetition, the same disrespect, the same exhaustion, the same apologies, the same financial crisis, the same betrayal, the same emotional crash, the same drama. Same version of yourself that you do not like becoming. That is the sign. You do not always need closure. Closure is a lie. Closure is the closure you get yourself. Closure from the other person, no, 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 no. All that is another chance for them to infiltrate your life again. Because some people have sought closure during the end of a relationship and ended up giving that person 10 more years of their life, or giving that friendship 10 more years of their life. Or sometimes people had friends who was doing crimes and you went around that one last time and now they in jail. So y'all got to stop playing, especially my people who be out there talking about karma, karma, karma. Baby, you need to see what karma is, because the people I see talking about karma, their life be miserable. So does that mean that that's your karma? Hello? How many years have this been happening? How many times have you had this conversation? How many chances have you given? How many times did you say this is the last time? I've never done that. That's one thing I've done. I don't know, maybe I might be one of them people, one of them neuro people, because when I be done with stuff, I really be serious. And that's why I think people never took me serious, because they project the fact that they never done when they say that they done. And then when they do say I'm done, they'll try to reach out months later. Oh, so you really ain't, like, please take the first class seat to hell. Like, how many times did the last time have a sequel? At some point, migration is not an option. It is the overdue bill for ignoring reality. Now we've come to the end of the road. Every species understands when the environment no longer supports life. Humans are the one of the few creatures that can receive the same lesson for 10 years and still act surprised when the outcome repeats. If a person plays habit, mindset, system, app, job, relationship, business, or environment keeps producing suffering, eventually the question is not, why does this keep happening? The question becomes, why am I still here? Migration is not always physical. Sometimes you need to leave a city. You need to leave a relationship. You need to leave a job, a friend group, leave a habit, leave an identity. Sometimes you need to leave the version of yourself that was built for survival, but is now blocking your prosperity. And also, too, if you anybody that's disabled or maybe trying to leave abuse, they have foundations all around the country that help people with those types of things. One start would be 211, toll free on any telephone that is government funded. It connects you to resources for housing, electricity assistance, education, childcare, medical assistance, everything. So Next time somebody call you and ask you to borrow something, give them 211. Down here in New Orleans, we understand this in our own way. If the streets flood every time it drizzles, you can keep running shoes or you can learn another route. If the gumbo is burnt every Sunday, stop blaming the bowl. If the hurricane warning has been flashing for 10 years, at some point you're not preparing anymore. You are decorating the storm. So migrate, move toward growth, toward discipline, peace, wisdom, better habits, better environments, better thinking. Move toward prosperity. But because if you refuse to migrate, life will not pause for you. It will simply keep teaching the same lesson with a higher price. And some people do not change because they finally understand. They change because the cost of staying became too expensive. Do not wait until life repossesses you. Migrate before survival becomes your only personality. And if you like this video, I have a course for $1,000 at the bottom to teach you how to have the perfect life so that you can be just like me. It's like, that would be fun. Bye. Have a good day, y'all.